Welcome, Ramley. How are my Rams super fans doing today? This week we don't have a game to preview since the Rams are on their bye, so I'll be doing a Q&A, so I'll be answering questions from the Ramley. Let's get into it. So the first question I have comes from YouTube, from Steven Bradshaw. He said, do you think we'll have Cam Akers back for the playoffs? Honestly, no. I don't think we will. It is a possibility, but I think even if he does come back, it's going to be in a really limited capacity. I think best case scenario, he comes back maybe the game before the playoffs start. We give him 3 to 5 carries. Once the playoffs start, we give him another few carries and then slowly work him into possibly splitting carries, getting 10 to 15 once the Super Bowl comes. But that's best case scenario. Honestly, if I had to guess, I would say he doesn't suit up at all this year. And, I would hate for him to come back, just to get hurt again. Like don't rush it. You know what I mean? Like, your future is a lot more important than the end of the season. I know he probably feels a lot of pressure seeing that, our roster is so stacked, and I'm sure those players believe that this is our year and he wants to be a part of that. But I mean, come on, man, you got to think of your future. You're already a running back, and running backs only have a few good years. You know what I mean? So get healthy and come back next year. This question comes from Andres Aguirre. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but he asked, I believe you live on the East Coast. Can you share a brief history on how you became a diehard fan? Yes, I do live on the East Coast. I live in upstate New York, western New York. I live an hour east of Buffalo, New York. And how I became a fan is pretty simple. When I started watching football, consistently watching football pretty much every Sunday, I was 7 years old. That just so happened to be the 1999 season. The Rams won the Super Bowl that year. And because they won the Super Bowl, me being young, I figured I would just cheer for the best team. So the following year, I cheered for the Rams because they won the Super Bowl. It's crazy to think that if the Tennessee Titans won that game, then I would be a Titans fan right now. It's like literally I was 1 yard short of becoming a Titans fan. I quickly fell in love with the Rams. It was, at that moment, it was literally just because they won a Super Bowl. But after that, it was just everything about them, their offense, how flashy they played in a good way, scoring a lot of points. My favorite position was the wide receivers. I grew up playing football with a bunch of friends in the park where, there's one quarterback and everybody's a wide receiver or a defensive back. We didn't play with running backs. There were no offensive lines, no linebackers, no defensive line, nothing like that. So, everybody was a wide receiver. So it's like I fell in love with that position. And of course, the team that I fell in love with had the best duo in NFL history. I fell in love with Torrey Holt. I fell in love with Isaac Bruce. Marshall Faulk was an amazing, just offensive weapon on every phase of the ball. Everything was it was amazing to watch. So yeah, it was easy for me to fall in love. And even though we live close to Buffalo, and Buffalo is considered the hometown team, I live in Rochester, New York. It's still a different city. I was never really drawn to them. And the fact that when I started watching football, they were horrible. I think Doug Flutie might have been their quarterback back then. Shortly after that, it was Drew Bledsoe. They were just historically bad. This next question comes from Rams Showcase. If you guys aren't aware, Rams Showcase is another YouTube channel talking all things Rams. If you haven't already, please check them out. Give them a subscribe. I highly recommend them. He also has it in a podcast format. That's pretty much how I take in Rams Showcase every week. Like, I don't miss a podcast episode. I listen to him every week at work. He's very insightful. If you enjoy the things that I have to say about the Rams and you enjoy my insight, then you'll definitely enjoy his, because he's very knowledgeable. But his question is, Who would you say has surprised you the most this season in a positive way? Someone you maybe didn't expect to do so well. This is an easy question for me. It's Leonard Floyd. If you have been watching my content for a while, you know how hard I've been on Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd, to me, I thought the Rams shouldn't have re-signed Leonard Floyd. I thought he played decent last year, but not that great. Actually, I take that back. I didn't think he played decent. I thought he played mediocre last year. I think he finished with like 10 sacks, but 6 of them was against Russell Wilson in the 3 games that he played against Seattle. Against the Seahawks last year, he looked like a superstar, and against every other team, he looked bad. Being an edge rusher that plays alongside Aaron Donald, I expect a lot from you. When Aaron Donald is eating up 2 or 3 defenders, and you're literally one-on-one every single play, I expect for you to get some pressure on the quarterback. I felt like he just didn't do that good enough. And I felt that in the offseason, his contract was up. We should have let him slide. And you could have put anybody in his position, and they could have at least replicated what he did last year. But the Rams felt otherwise. They signed him to a pretty big, hefty contract. I didn't like that signing at all. But so far this year, through 10 games, he has 7.5 sacks. And he's gotten a lot of those sacks on quarterbacks not named Russell Wilson. So I'm really pleased with his production. Now, Xavier Roberts said, we were already contenders, but what if Von Miller doesn't work out and Odell does, or vice versa? Does that hurt our chances? Yeah, I think if Von Miller or Odell Beckham doesn't work out, of course that hurts our chances. If anything doesn't work out on this team, it's going to, decrease our chances of winning. I think Odell had a lesser role when Robert Woods was here. So if he didn't work out, it probably didn't hurt our chances as much. But now that Robert Woods is gone for the season, we're going to expect a lot from him. And I think he'll be able to produce. But if it doesn't work out with him, we'll just have 2 receivers to throw the ball to. So that's going to really suck. And Von Miller, I think he's the X factor. I think he's the X factor getting that defense back on track. Having him there should help the run. It should help, seal the edges off. It'll also help us put pressure on the quarterback, man. And if he doesn't work out, obviously that's going to lower our chances of winning. It got to work out. I don't see why it wouldn't. And yeah, I would be crushed if it didn't work out. If you look at my recap video when I was reviewing the trade for Von Miller, or, the signing of Odell Beckham, you could see there that I was excited for both of these pickups. Definitely take a look at those 2 videos if you haven't seen them already. And this question comes from ASAP Roger. Do you think the Rams will pick up another free agent? No, I don't think the Rams will pick up another free agent. At this late in the game, there's some players out there, but they're out there for a reason. There is a free agent that I had my eye on. I really wanted Jalen Smith, the linebacker that started this season with the Dallas Cowboys. Last year for the Dallas Cowboys, he played great. In the beginning of this year, the first couple of games, he played pretty good also. And then I think they had a rookie linebacker, first-round draft pick that they drafted, and then Leighton Vander Esch was coming back to the scene, and Jalen Smith just kind of fell out of rotation, so they ended up cutting him, or I think they traded him to the Packers. And I really wanted the Rams to trade for him then, but it didn't happen. But the red flag came when he played for the Green Bay Packers. He played 4 games for them. He really didn't get much playing time while he was with the Green Bay Packers, and then the Green Bay Packers just cut him for absolutely nothing. So that was a little shocking to me, because the talent seemed like it was there. So I just don't know what is going on there. And he's still a free agent to this day. He's young. I don't know why no team in the NFL has taken a chance on him yet. Something might have happened, like maybe something off the field, something in the locker room, something that I'm just not picking up on. I think he could help the Rams tremendously, help in stopping the run. And Troy Reeder is not the guy. He is not that guy. He needs to be replaced. And Ernest Jones is still young and developing, but you can't really count on him to not make mistakes back there. You know what I mean? So I would love a Jalen Smith talent I'm not sure what the problem is, though. Something's wrong there. I can't put my finger on it. But I don't, to answer your question, I don't think the Rams are going to get anybody. But if they did, that's who I would want. All right, the next question comes from Rams House. Once again, guys, if you're not familiar with Rams House, he is another YouTuber who makes great content. Please give him a follow. Subscribe to his YouTube channel. It's Rams House. Now, his question is, what happened to D. Will? He was a huge benefit to the LA Rams defense last year, but this year he's been more of a liability. What are your thoughts? Man, your guess is as good as mine, is my thoughts on that. I have no idea. He played great for us last year. This year, he's been a liability, just like you said. I remember going into the offseason, I told myself, we already got Jalen Ramsey. If we could just keep Troy Hill or Darius Williams, one or the other, then we'll be great. We let Troy Hill go. We make sure to keep Darius Williams, and then Darius Williams becomes a liability. I don't know what happened. The one thing that I could think of is that, with Jalen Ramsey on the outside guarding the best defender last year, and then you had Troy Hill on the outside. Darius Williams played a lot of slot. This year, Jalen Ramsey has kind of taken over that slot position, and you have Darius Williams on the outside. Maybe he's just a slot corner. Remember, we had Nikel Roby-Coleman, who was just like a slot specialist. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. I don't even remember if he played the slot a lot last year. I'd have to look back and check. But that's the only thing I could possibly think of. Other than that, maybe he just had a lucky, a good year. He was just in his zone last year. The scheme that Brandon Staley had helped him a lot. We see that a lot when the scheme changes. Players that are really good tend not to be so good, and players that were bad before are really good now. Some players are just, scheme dependent. And Darius Williams could be one of those guys. Luckily, the Rams only signed him to a 1-year deal, so I'm sure they'll be moving on from him at the end of the season. Another question from Rams House: why are the Rams running more spread sets and shotgun sets this year on offense? Why don't we use what we had as the DNA to our offense to make us different for many years by using motions and play action? I believe this will help Stafford even more. Why they're not using it? I believe that McVay used motions and play action a lot to cover up Jared Goff's flaws. And I feel like he feels that Stafford is such a step above that he really doesn't have to disguise it, which I don't really understand, because you go watch Peyton Manning highlights. Peyton Manning ran play actions all the time when they had Edgerrin James and whatnot back then. So I don't know if that's the case. I see that sentiment a lot. I think the big one is, in order for play action to work, you have to run the ball effectively. And the Rams just haven't been running the ball effectively. It's easy to run play action when you have Todd Gurley, the best running back in the NFL, in your backfield. Of course you run play action. It doesn't matter who your quarterback is. But when you don't establish the run, then play action is pointless. You're literally just wasting time that the quarterback could be reading the defense. Instead he's faking handoffs. Because it's not going to work if you don't establish the run. The Rams don't establish the run in the majority of their games, so the play action just never works. So why even try it? Same thing with the end arounds and the motions. The motion and the end arounds only work if you hand the ball off every once in a while. Back in 2018, 2019, you've seen the Rams running that motion all the time, but then they would hand it off to Robert Woods, at least 2 times a game, just to keep that defense on their toes. And I don't think McVay wants to run. I don't think that McVay wants to hand that ball off to that motion guy at all. So he just kind of forgets about it. I really hope they would establish the run and get back to that, because play action makes anybody better. It's not just Stafford. It's not just Jared Goff. Anybody can benefit from play action. But in order to run play action, you have to establish the run. All right, this next question comes from JuiceMan562. He said, why did the Rams let go of Pharaoh Cooper? He was the last good kick and punt returner we had. I love Pharaoh Cooper. He was an amazing kick returner, punt returner for us. I want to say back in 2017. But that was the first year the Rams made the playoffs in 12 years. And I didn't look this up, so I'm kind of freestyling this. But if I'm not mistaken, Pharaoh Cooper played great that whole year. I want to say he might have been even a Pro Bowler, a Pro Bowl punt and kick returner. I'm not sure, but I know if he wasn't, he was up there. We get into the playoffs and we lose to the Atlanta Falcons. And we lose to the Atlanta Falcons primarily due to 2 fumbles on kick and punt returns from Pharaoh Cooper. Pharaoh Cooper would then go on to never play for the Rams again. I'm pretty sure that's how that worked out. When you get a franchise that hasn't been to the playoffs in 12 years and we finally get to the playoffs and we lose our first game because you can't hold the ball, I could see why the coaching staff would lose trust in you right away. It's unfortunate because if that is the case, accidents happen. He was really good. You never know. He could have still been returning punts for us to this day. I mean, one thing's for sure, he was a lot better than Tutu Atwell, Nisimba Webster, you know what I mean? But you gotta hold on to the ball in the biggest game of your career, man. Come on, that was a stressful day, but it was a happy day also, seeing that, even though we lost, just seeing us back in action. Man, I still remember where I was and everything. This question comes from Jared Ramirez. He said, which Rams players often get scared of offenses on other teams? Which Rams players often get scared of offenses on other teams? I'm not really sure. I don't know. Maybe Troy Reader. He just hasn't been playing well. I could see him, the day before getting nervous playing some high-powered offenses. I don't know. This question comes from Sharif King Jr. He said, predictions on our next year's linebacker core because this year's is trash. Specifically, who will replace Reader? I don't know. I did see this question beforehand and I looked up some free agents, and the up-and-coming bunch of linebackers in free agency in 2020 is pretty weak. There's really not much to look forward to. And seeing that the Rams probably aren't going to have a draft pick until the 3rd round, I think we'll probably end up getting a compensatory pick or two in the 3rd round. I don't know. Maybe we'll draft one. I mean, knowing the Rams, though, we don't really draft to our need. We draft whoever we like. So it probably won't be a linebacker either. It'll probably be, a running back or a wide receiver again. Who knows? So, I wouldn't be shocked if Troy Reader is still on our team. Maybe we'll pick up somebody, man. I hope we do. I hope we do, because it's definitely a need. I think the linebackers shouldn't be blamed 100% though on why the Rams have been having a hard time stopping the run. And I know somebody has a question about this, so we'll get into that a little later. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about that linebacker core, definitely. All right. So this question is from Instagram from Christian Robes. He said, when did you become a fan? I kind of answered that a little earlier, but basically I became a fan in 1999. I guess you could say technically 2000, because it was when they won the Super Bowl that I became a fan. But yeah, I was 7 years old and been a Rams fan ever since. He also asked another question: who is your favorite player currently and of all time? My favorite player of all time is Torrey Holt. Like I said earlier, I just loved the wide receiver position growing up, and he was the best to do it. I missed those years when Isaac Bruce first got on the Rams and he had like that legendary season in 1995. I wasn't really watching football back then. I think I was like 3 years old. So when I started, Torrey Holt was better, a lot better than Isaac Bruce at the time. This is when he was going for like consecutive 1,300 yard seasons. I think he had like 5-6, I think it was maybe like 5 13-yard seasons in a row or something like that, and he ended up with like 8 1,000-yard seasons or something crazy like that. And man, the way he just played was a work of art. Just hands of pillows, you know what I mean? Like, he never dropped passes. His route running was so smooth. I think the one thing that he did, which was so smart and genius, and even at a young age I could recognize it, was he would catch the ball, get as much yards as possible, and right before he was going to take a hit, he would get down. Or right before he was going to take a hit, he would step out of bounds. Man, it was definitely a work of art seeing him play. And as far as my favorite player today is, it's easily Aaron Donald, man. I don't know what it is. It's just something about greatness. Like, I've always been attracted to greatness, and I know that might sound a little weird, but like, I often get a little sad when I think, like, I never got to see like Joe Montana play in his prime. I never got to really, take in John Elway or Michael Jordan. The Michael Jordan I grew up watching play for the Washington Wizards. I never really got to see him play for the Chicago Bulls. So knowing that, when I grow up and I get to watch LeBron James play, I get sad for my son who's never gonna see LeBron James play. So I really take pride in watching as much Lakers games right now as possible. I take pride in, even though I'm not a big Tom Brady fan, I know he's the GOAT, and the generation after me is not going to be able to see him play. So it's like, yeah, I might have missed Michael Jordan, but at least I get LeBron. I might have missed Joe Montana, but at least I got Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. So I really love to just take that in and appreciate that greatness while I can. And with that being said, I didn't get to see Deacon Jones, but man, oh man, I got to see that bad number 99 Aaron Donald play. And it's just something about somebody just taking his craft as serious as Aaron Donald, somebody just playing at a high level, dominating from a position that often gets overlooked, literally being the best that I've ever seen on the defensive side of the ball, and it's not even close. Just appreciate it while it's here. He's already 30. It's not going to be here forever. I remember watching like J.J. Watt play in his prime and being like, damn, what I'm saying? This guy just dominates the ball. He dominates offenses. Offensive lines don't know what to do with this guy. The difference is he couldn't stay healthy, and Aaron Donald has been consistent year after year after year after year. And I mean, look at the playoffs last year when he was hurt and he wasn't at 100%. Man, oh man, was it noticeable. That defense just fell apart. It wasn't the same. We could get no pressure whatsoever. It's just, Aaron Donald is amazing. And I feel like a lot of people don't appreciate him because it's the defensive line and it's the defensive tackle position. And if he's not getting 20 sacks in a season, a lot of people just, kind of write him off. Oh, he only has 6 sacks this year. Do you not see what else he's doing, though? He's literally holding 2 to 3 defenders on every play. And he's still, he's in there constantly. He's still around the ball all the time. And it's like, man, give this man his flowers while he is still playing. I've never seen nobody like him, and I don't know if I ever will. So he's by far my favorite player right now. As you can tell, I get a little excited talking about Aaron Donald, man. But let's get into the next question. This is another question from Christian. It says, who is your favorite and your least favorite player not on the Rams in the NFC West right now? That's a good question. Who is my favorite and my least favorite player in the NFC West that's not on the Rams? That's a good question. I think my least favorite player has to be probably Jimmy Garoppolo. And it's probably Jimmy Garoppolo because I think he's horrible. I think he's a bad quarterback. I think he sucks ass. I think he is mediocre at best. I feel like he is a really, 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 really good backup quarterback. And I hate him so much because every time he plays the Rams, he's all of a sudden amazing. I don't know what it is. It infuriates me. As far as my favorite player in the NFC West, not on the Rams, I don't know, man. I honestly probably don't have a favorite player. I have a lot of respect for Kyler Murray and a lot of respect for Russell Wilson. I think those are 2 phenomenal talents on and off the field. I think Russell Wilson is just a great guy. At least it seems that way. I really don't know him, but, from what we see. But, they play for the Ops, so it's like they're not my favorite guys, you know what I mean? I guess if I had to pick one, it would probably be a guy who I find is on my fantasy football team every year for like the last 3 or 4 years, and he's won me a lot of money on my fantasy teams because everybody sleeps on him every single season, and he does nothing but produce for fantasy. And it would be running back Chris Carson. And it's funny that I say that on the day where I just get an alert that he's out for the rest of the season. And now I have a running back hole on all of my fantasy football teams. But yeah, I guess I would say him, seeing that I've been cheering for Chris Carson for the last 3 or 4 years. So my next question comes from Payo Time. If you're not aware of who Payo Time is, he is also a Rams YouTuber who has great content. Please, if you are not subscribed to him, definitely check out his work. You will be pleasantly surprised, and you'll definitely enjoy it. If you like this, you'll like that. So go ahead and jump over to Payo Time's YouTube channel after you finish this video. But his question is, his question's a really good one actually. It's, what has been Les Snead's best and worst trade as a GM? Now we're talking about trades here, so we're not talking about draft picks, we're not talking about free agent signings, just strictly trades. Let's see, he had the Jalen Ramsey trade, Von Miller trade. Okay, so I think his best trade is easily the Matthew Stafford trade. Matthew Stafford, and you never really get a quarterback in the prime of his career that good switch teams. The fact that he was able to pull that off was easily the best trade that he's ever made. It was an amazing trade. Even if it doesn't work out and we end up not winning a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford, man, it was still an amazing trade by Les Snead. As far as Les Snead's worst trade goes, honestly, as far as trades go, I don't think he's made a really bad trade. I guess if I had to pick one, I would pick the first thing that he did was trade all of those picks away for us to grab the #1 overall pick, which we would go on to select Jared Goff. Now, at the time, I loved it, you know what I mean? And still, you know, I wouldn't even say it didn't work out. He did take us to a Super Bowl, and we were, you know, just a couple of plays from winning that Super Bowl. You know, if a few things shook the other way, you know, we could have definitely took that one home. So I wouldn't say it was a complete bust, but anytime you not only do you take a quarterback first overall, but you also mortgage your entire future to do it, and then he's only on your roster for 5 years, you got to say it just didn't work out. So if I had to pick one trade as being his worst, I'd pick the Jared Goff trade. Now this is the last question we have here from Talanka33. It says, why do you think our players declined over these past 2 weeks? Well, 2 weeks ago we played the Tennessee Titans. I had a recap video of that loss. If you haven't, please check that out. I think we lost that game just because we weren't playing good football. When I say good football, I mean the fundamentals. We turned the ball over twice, which led to 14 points, and not 14 points like they had to drive the entire field. I mean, we gave the ball away and they had to move the ball 2 yards to score 14 points. Also, you know, we were penalized that game 12 times for 115 yards and we gave up 5 sacks. Anytime we play ball that sloppy, it's gonna hurt us. It would be very difficult for us to win games playing that sloppy. Now, with that being said, I think our defense in that Tennessee Titans game played pretty well. We held them to, I think, like 66 yards on the ground. We held Tannehill to, like, I don't remember, but I think it was like 160 yards or something like that. I know it was under 200 yards through the air. Our defense played amazing. It was just those 2 turnovers and those penalties and those sacks that really killed us. I think that was kind of the equivalent of shooting ourselves in the foot. You know what I mean? I think if Stafford takes that sack in the end zone instead of throwing it away, we give them 2 points instead of 7. And then if, you know, Tyler Higbee can keep his foot in, you know, bounce when he's going up for that touchdown pass, you're looking at a completely different game here. Honestly, I think we probably could have still squeezed that one out if those 2 things happened. But, you know, woulda, shoulda, coulda. It didn't happen that way. As far as the Niners game, we didn't make adjustments to the game. The 49ers came out from the opening drive and said, listen, we're going to run the ball down your throat, and we're going to run, and we're going to run, and we're going to run. We're going to take the ball out of Garoppolo's hands, and he's only going to pass when necessary. Problem was our defensive scheme was allowing them to run. We're playing 2 deep safeties the whole game. Our coverage is, our coverage is soft. We're pretty much telling them we have nobody in the box, and we're pretty much telling them, hey guys, you can run the ball all you want, but you're not going to pass on us. The issue was that they ran the ball all they wanted. And when they decided, I think the issue was when they decided to pass on us, it was perfectly fine. They were allowed to do so. We've seen that happen in other games where, we played soft and we let them run the ball. But then when they passed the ball on us, it didn't really go too well. This was the opposite, you know what I'm saying? They had everything open. So, which was fine. If that's what you want to do, you think that's the appropriate way to go in the game, great. But when you see it's not working in the first quarter, maybe try some adjustments in the second quarter. But okay, you want to see how it works in the second quarter, give it a couple more drives. Surely at halftime, you're going to adjust your defense. You're going to start putting some players in the box because it's just not working. But you don't. You literally go the entire game just playing soft and giving up the run and not giving up the pass. But in all actuality, you're still not defending the pass. So it was really bad on both levels of the defense. And I just think they just didn't make the adjustments. Raheem Morris didn't make the adjustments, and I just don't get it. You had Peyton Manning on the little Peyton Manning and Eli Manning telecast of the game, and Peyton Manning was saying it the whole game, like, why are the Rams not changing their defense? They're giving up the run but playing the pass. When they do decide to pass, you can't stop it either. So since you can't stop their pass, at least you should do is put some more players in the box so you could at least slow down their run, or make Jimmy Garoppolo pass the ball more than 19 times. So eventually he's gonna make a mistake. I mean, damn, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that was just purely just coaching on that defensive side of the ball. A lot of people want to shit on Matthew Stafford for his performance in that game, but I don't see how you can. The defense just gave up everything. And when you're running the ball 40 plus times, that means what, guys? That means you're going to win the time of possession by a lot. They won the time of possession by 19 minutes. Anytime you win the time of possession by that large of a margin, you're going to win. You're literally just doing, you know what they say when they're like, oh, you want to play Tom Brady? Run the ball a lot to keep him off the field. Run the ball a lot to keep him off the field. That's exactly what they did. They ran the ball so much it kept Stafford off the field. And when Stafford did get on the field, yeah, he threw 2 interceptions. The first interception, okay, it was a bad throw. Some people will say it was just, bad chemistry between him and Odell. He shouldn't have threw that ball regardless because they were doubling him. But that second interception damn sure wasn't his fault. And of course, they're 3 for 10 on third downs. Every time they were faced with a third down, you had somebody dropping a damn pass. If everybody caught their passes in that game, the Rams are probably like 6 for 10 on third down. It's a completely different game. You know what I mean? It's just the mental mistakes. I don't know. Fuck, I'm getting mad all over again thinking about this damn game. Why did you ask me this question? Man, yeah, you see the passion here, man. It's just, man, these Rams. My wife often tells me, like, yo, why do you watch football? What do you mean? She's like, yeah, you guys lose, it ruins your entire mood and you're angry for the rest of the day. If anything like that had that effect on me, I wouldn't watch it. Like, I wouldn't indulge in it if it could just ruin my mood like that. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, yeah, it probably is an unhealthy obsession with this damn team, but when they win, it's just it's like, whew, it's like I don't know, man. It's amazing, it's a feeling you can't really replicate. But yeah, I think it's that defensive scheme. I'm not on the side of fire Raheem Morris yet, just because, who do you replace him with? You're going to fire him and replace him with anybody, make these players learn a completely different scheme in the middle of the season. I don't know. I think he just has to make the adjustments. I think McVay is going to eventually, it's only so many times this is going to happen before McVay sits him down and says, listen, we're going to put Jalen Ramsey on the best player. We're going to play more players in the box. This shit that you're running just doesn't work all the time. And it's sad because it does work sometimes. And I think when it does work, nobody wants to give it the credit. It did work when he played against the Tennessee Titans. It just didn't work here. It didn't work against the Cardinals, and it didn't work, against the Niners this past week. But, when it does work, it works, so it's unfortunate. My thing is, if you want to run that scheme, run it. And if it's working, continue it. But when it's not working, adjust it and change it up. When you see it's not working, stop doing it. It's simple, you know, and switch it up before it's too late. And these Rams got to catch the fucking ball. Damn. Man, but I think Odell will get acclimated, especially with this bye week, and I think it'll be completely different, and I don't expect Odell Beckham to be dropping passes. I don't expect Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee to continue dropping passes, Van Jefferson to continue dropping passes. So I think the Rams will definitely get back. I think the Rams will definitely look completely different when they play the Green Bay Packers. Be on the lookout for the preview video, probably coming out Sunday night or Monday morning, for the Rams at the Green Bay Packers. That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for watching. Please like this video, comment, and subscribe. And if you're interested in more Rams content, you know what to do.